December the 19th, Minsk, Independence Square, the evening after the presidential elections, 10 p.m. Outside the Central Election Commission, a crowd and ex-candidates. The voting results are announced. The opposition lost it. The former presidential nominees decide to take by force what they did not get on the election day.
Стеклу! Дайте флаг Беларуси! Позорное! Отойдем назад! Отошли назад! 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 Есть Беларусь! Нет! Раз, два!
November the 18th, Central Election Commission session, 12 a.m. Nominees are invited to the Palace of the Republic. Everyone is tense waiting for the decision of the Central Election Commission. And that's when a mini sensation happens. 10 people get through to the candidate stage. Many of them are amazed and lost. And for the first time you can hear something unexpected. Some are taking part in the election campaign not because they want to be elected. No one had the intention of winning the election. Not because they were afraid the elections would be rigged. It's something else. November opinion polls conducted by opposition poll centers produced disappointing results. Other sources give similar data.
По последним опросам, если бы президента Беларуси выбирали завтра, то 78% опрошенных проголосовали бы за Александра Лукашенко и 5% за оппозицию.
The question arises, if there is no winning chance, why run in the elections? October the 20th, the Belaruski Novosti website, 12 p.m. The answer to this question came on October the 20th. The Belaruski Novosti website posts the article entitled "Choice, we're ready to pay the price." The author is Dmitry Dashkevich, the leader of the Young Front. The article is based on a simple idea. Voters do not decide the outcome of the election. This square will decide it. And this square will demand sacrifices. The election campaign has been proceeding in a weird way. The closer the election day, the less the candidates talk about themselves and their programs. The only subject they have at the tip of their tongue is the ploshcha. The ploshcha is written about on the websites. The ploshcha is broadcast in TV programs.
Треба будет выйти на площадь в 8 часов вечера, на площадь в Минске.
Надо принимать участие в массовых акциях.
Мы зменим эту систему.
Приходите на площадь.
During the debate, people are called to come to the ploshcha.
Встретимся 19 числа в 8 часов вечера на площади в Минске.
Користаюся моментом. Я ще раз закликать вас прийти на площадь.
Finally, they start rehearsing the ploshcha.
7 человек сюда класс.
November the 24th, Oktyabrskaya Square, 6 p.m. The first ploshcha dry run. Outside the Palace of the Republic are the main actors, Rimashevsky, Statkevich and Neklayev. Few people, mostly the people from the candidates' offices. The crowd starts moving to the Square of Independence, a brief rally, an attempt to get inside the Central Election Commission. The rally, naturally, is not authorized, but no one is interfering. The authorities are looking away. November the 26th, Minsk, 9 a.m. The State Frontier Committee receives an alarming report. Acts of terror are possible on the election day in Minsk. This is immediately reported to the country's leadership.
Оперативными органами пограничной службы была получена.
The operative bodies of the Frontier Service got information from the intelligence sources that a group of demolition specialists had planned preparation and carrying out some terror attacks on the elections day.
Starting from the end of November, the Belarusian borders are overwhelmed with tourists. Dozens of groups are trying to enter Belarus from Poland, Ukraine and Russia. The tourists are bringing a weird package of things along: tasers, smoke flares, truncheons, brass knuckles, knives and ammunition.
Artem Yurievich Breush. I'm going to get a residence permit in Belarus, to find a job and to live here. I study in St. Petersburg, at St. Petersburg State University in the second year at the Faculty of International Relations. My major is Studies of the CIS countries. I came here to observe the electoral campaign of the President of Belarus, without either the status of an international observer or a journalist accreditation, because I didn't get it. Do you mean you came as a physical person? Yes, I came as a physical person.
December the 6th, Minsk, Privokzalnaya Square, 7 p.m. Yet another group of militants is stopped at the border in the morning, and a second square dry run takes place in Minsk. It is staged by the Nikolaev and Sannikov officers. The venue is not a random choice. On the X day, that is December the 19th, Privokzalnaya Square will be the gathering point for the backup column. The rally at Privokzalnaya does not make sense as an election campaigning event. The idea was different: to mobilize the striking fist of the square.
Тільки разом ми переможемо. Як кажуть, разом і батьку бить свиней.
December the 7th, Gomel region. A businessman from Gomel received an extraordinary business proposal from Nikolai Statkevich's party members to manufacture a batch of metal-made sharpened rods.
Ко мне обратились члены партии Громада Статкевича.
I was applied to by the members of Statkevich's party, Ramada, who got me into their car and asked me to assist them in making metal spiky rods that, as they said, would be used to defend the meeting on the 19th of December.
On the same day, the general manager of Железом Repair and Technical Works got a call.
7 числа в районе 16:00.
On the 7th of December, at about 4 p.m., I answered my fixed phone. A man of elderly age, he did not introduce himself, asked me to place an order for cutting and sharpening grease in the total number of about 3,000 items.
December the 13th, checkpoint Mokhro, 11 o'clock. This cargo is apprehended at the Belarus-Ukraine border. It was with 7 foreign nationals. All of them worked as instructors in radical groups of Belarus. The interrogations revealed the purpose of the business trip: participation in public disorders in Minsk. Several days ahead of the X day, the candidates are getting ever more candid. President Lukashenko gets direct threats.
I hope the one who calls himself the president will feel quite himself, because he has only 2 choices: either a Russian bullet in his forehead of a sniper, I'm telling you the truth, yeah, or he will start negotiating with us and with Europe, and he will agree to the dialogue and concessions.
December the 16th, Svobody Square, 6 p.m. The third square dry run. There are about 1,000 people outside the Minsk City Hall. Sannikov, Nikolaev and Rimashevsky are addressing the crowd. Their speeches do not mention a single word about the elections, only the square and the revolution.
Мы здольні знищити эту паскудную фашистскую уладу.
That looked weird to an outside observer. What is common before the election day is appeals to go to the polls, but our candidates were only calling to go to the square.
Я призову к забастовкам.
The truth is that the square pursued 2 goals. The ultimate goal was to seize power. The minimum is to provide a bloody picture from Minsk streets. What was obvious was that the one able to get the picture will get the big snatch. This is something worth fighting for. December 17th, Minsk, 11 a.m. Statkevich has an incoming call.
Алло, Николай, добрый день, для Пегасов.
Алло, я?
Да, это я, мне звонили сюда.
Так, Ярослав, слушайте, такая, там на практику нажали, а так я буду уже только после Нового года. Вот это связано, скажем так, с бизнесом, с продажей там одной справы, и тут с коллегами это все справа, короче, шпиняется. Так что, ну, помашьте людям, что еще будет или будет позднее. Вот это хотел сказать. Там, там их участок вам же там это, передали, так?
Ну так, мне 400 не выдали.
Чему так мало?
Как он называет, Сергей там это сказал, что я позвонил с Машей, Ваня сказал 400, а Полина были 6 лет.
December the 18th, Minsk, the day before the election day. The Nikolaev office has a meeting. The main issue is organize militant militias. The risk was high, but the militants themselves were not acting out of charity.
Слышишь, еще хотел спросить, а ты насчет денег там не спрашивал?
Ну, Паша вроде про завтра говорит, буду вообще видеть завтра.
Ну, там Дмитриев так и сказал, сегодня завтра.
Ну, да, ну, понимаешь, уже ладно, то есть, как бы, когда он сказал, просто до этого вообще непонятно было, ну, раз он подтвердил.
Не, ну, раз говорит сам Дмитриев, я думаю, то можно поверить.
Ну, да, если уже он врет, так, это уже...
Туда уже никому верить нельзя.
Тогда уже вообще пиздец. Тогда нет правды на свете.
Minsk, December the 19th, Election Day. Many thought that the main question the opposition had today was who would become the president of Belarus. But they had a completely different concern. They had elections of their own. They were to decide who would be the main oppositionist. The obvious leader was Nikolaev. He had the money and people hired for money. The custom-made rankings always placed him at the top, trailing behind Lukashenko. If successful, the square would secure Nikolaev's position as the united opposition leader. The way things were, there was no room for other contenders. This was not agreeable to at least 3 people. First, Andrei Sannikov. He had an ambitious team behind him, but the main thing is that his wife, Irina Khalip. The Sannikov office dubbed her as Mama. The candidate followed all her orders without questioning them. Rimashevsky suspected that Nikolaev had been bought by the Kremlin. This was worse than treason for the nationalist Rimashevsky. Statkevich, in turn, was scornful of Nikolaev, viewing him as an upstart and a politico. All 3, Sannikov, Rimashevsky and Statkevich, could not cede the square to Nikolaev, giving him a chance to stage and run the show. (7:20 p.m.